Welcome, friends and fellow horse fiends. You've landed on Come Ride With Me, a podcast dedicated to helping you find harmony, joy, and success in your riding. I'm your host, Anna Fox of Equus Enlightened. This pod isn't about training your horse, but about training you to be the best partner for your horse. Listen to find out how I use my intention to direct my ride. You'll hear how I decide what to focus on, what to say yes to, and when to redirect my horse. You'll see how not getting frustrated or overwhelmed is the easiest path to sanity and harmony. So, what are you waiting for? Come ride with me. Hey guys, Anna Fox with Equus Enlightened here, and today we are doing our learning to go bridleless, bitless, reinless, whatever you want to call it. And this is Miss Ruby. She's still wearing her bridle because I wanted to show you guys how I would typically start. She's got a neck rope and the bridle, and we are just going to start with the basic transitions that I think you should teach right off the bat, and then working on a little bit of steering. Miss Ruby doesn't typically get ridden bridleless, but so I think she'll be a good candidate for showing us how to do this. She's just pretty responsive to the other aids though, so I think for her it'll be a pretty easy transition. And I said in the last episode that I like to have a long stiff stick, and so these are the ones that I have. They're actually made by Callie Krickenberg, and I don't think they make them anymore. Like I said, it's similar to a Pirelli carrot stick. You can look that up. It's just thinner and lighter, which I prefer. So Ruby's ready to go. And one of the things, like right off, is just that halt, right? Like I want to be able to halt from my seat and legs, and then also create a backup. There we go. And I use these sticks on the ground with my horses too, so I teach them to yield off the stick, going, from the chest, also from the shoulders and from the hindquarters. So that way, if when I'm up here, I need to say, rather than using the bridle rein or even the neck rope, I can do that. And then the other thing is I'm always a big fan of the hindquarter yield, right? Teach that on the ground, teach it in both directions. Let's see if Miss Ruby remembers how to do that. Or she's going to go backwards first. So just hang out. Like if your horse doesn't do, I'm going to go, no, that's not exactly what I want. Now I'm going to add my inside rein. Oh, good girl. See if I can convince her that, maybe we should step over. All right, now we'll try the other side since that's what's facing you guys. Do the same thing. That's okay. Add the rein. Now there, good. Initially, she turned her front end. Then she changed it around and turned her hind end. And that's when I released the pressure, right? I didn't let it go while she was turning her front end, which wasn't exactly what I wanted, right? If my leg goes back, I want you to move your butt, right? I don't want you to move your front end. I want you to move your butt. So we'll try from the right leg again. And then I'm just going to tap, 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 tap if I don't get any response. Because now she's like, wait a minute. I was going backwards. Good. Yeah, good. And I like to make this so that the horses start to think that you want them to go when your body is turning, right? So you'll notice that what I do is I look back at this hip, put the leg back, and ask. Because as I look back, that changes my body into the position, into the turn or corner left, yield the hind quarter that way, right? Good girl. And she's still like, oh, what? She's a quick study, though, so I have faith. There we go. Good girl. Right? And it doesn't have to be, she doesn't have to go around and around. All I need her to do is step that hind end under just a little bit. Same thing over here. Nope. Nope. And even though she's going backwards, I don't want her to, I can still lift the inside rein, because lifting the inside rein, which the inside rein is going to be whichever leg I'm trying to get her to yield off of, is going to cause her to change her direction and change the angle. So she's going to step around with the hind rather than, and I do the same thing if she goes forward, right? No. There we go. Good. Yeah, good. Good girl. Yeah, good. And then, okay, so now I might have broken my back up because I did all that. My back up is both legs back, right? And I tilt my pelvis a little bit. I think about, let's go, halting. Good girl. And I think about like arching my back a little bit, rotating my pelvis, legs back, and she comes back. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Now, see, now I might have broke my hindquarter yields again. There we go. Good girl. How about this side? This side. And if you're really diligent about teaching your horses the aids, yeah, good. Then, and your body positioning to go along with it, then it becomes really light. Like you don't have to do a whole lot to make it happen. And that's what we want eventually. Yeah, we don't want to have to do a whole lot to make things happen. And there's many reasons for that. I mean, one is just it's aesthetically pleasing, right? Especially if you're competing, to not have a lot going on. But also if you are, as you start going faster, you know, the trot, the canter, things come up faster, things happen faster. So if your horse is slow reacting to your aids, it becomes even slower the faster the gait, right?
And the way to sharpen up your aids like this and make them light but very effective is just rinse, repeat. So here we practice halting and backing up again.
Now, can she move her shoulders over? And for this one, I might use the neck rope for help. It's essentially a turn on the hindquarter, right? I'm going to keep my legs right at the girth, though. Good girl. Whoop. Oh, don't have to go forward. Good girl. Ruby's a little bit of an overachiever. Nope. Nope. Good. You're crooked today. Okay. There. Let's see. How about this way? Can we go this way? Nope. Nope. Not forward. Not forward. Not forward.
This is why I have a couple different tools to help me. I can see what's most effective and wait until I get the right answer.
Yes. Good girl. Not forward. Just over. And a lot of horses are not taught that, you know, they can just go over. Like they can just step over with a front leg or a hind leg and not go anywhere. Yes. Good. Good. And you notice she is way more comfortable responding to the bridle, right? Because that's what she's used to, and that's so normal. That's such a typical thing with horses that are always ridden in bridles. I would take my time and refine those aids, and that's why this is not like a one-time thing. This is something that you can easily do during, at the beginning of, after all of your, you know, normal rides. You can start playing with these little things because it takes time. It takes time to build up your confidence and the horse's confidence with these new concepts. It's now that I feel like I've got all of these things working pretty well. I'm going to see, what's one of my favorite little exercises. You can use cones or barrels or whatever. We're going to see, can I steer her hind end? So can I use my hindquarter yield to steer her around? Hindquarter yield. The idea would be that I don't have to use my rein. But, oh, good girl. Ah, very nice. Good girl. And one of the hardest things here for people is you'll often easily see your horse's weaker side and your weaker side on the turning. Like here, she turns way better to the left than she does to the right. She's not as willing to really put that right hind underneath and step the left one out to make the tighter circle there. That's fine, it's normal. That's something that we can work on, right? But right now, I just want to make sure, can I steer her butt? And so you notice, my leg goes back. I use that. If she doesn't turn all the way, I lift that inside rein. The other thing that I can do, if I don't feel like I'm getting enough energy there, is use my stick. But she is pretty much giving me the energy when I put my leg on. Like you'll notice, she speeds it up a little bit. She just doesn't always turn it that well. So, but I can encourage her a little bit with the stick too. And that's why I just like the longer stick here. It's a little bit easier. It's like I really need you to move this foot. And it doesn't have any whippy action, right? So it's not painful and rude. There. Good girl. So once I have gotten where my horse will steer from the hindquarter, so hindquarter yield, she's not quite going, I'm going to lift the rein, oh, and then I'm going to lift the rein again. And notice I dropped the rein, right, when she started to turn the first time. Because the idea here is that I don't have to use the rein. I don't have to use it here to the left. Now to the right, she kind of goes wide. So it's like, I'm going to lift. Also, the gate is right there, so that may be another thing. If I want to keep her going right, can you turn? And then I drop. If I ask her again, oh, and she's not doing, I'm going to lift and drop, and then lift and drop again. Rather than hold it. Because if I hold it, I'm not teaching her that what I need you to do is make the effort. If I hold the rein in the position, then I'm telling her, well, I'm going to hold you as we go around this corner here. And so just, just hold on. I'm holding you, and we're going to go around. If I say, can you turn with my leg? And she's like, I don't know. And then I lift my rein, and then I let it down, and I'm keeping my leg engaged. Then she's like, oh, I need to make that effort, right? I need to make that turn. We're really good at the left one here. Okay, so once I have a horse that steers from the hind end like that, then I want to see, can I get them to steer from the front end? And one of the things that I usually do here is on the ground with the sticks. I teach the horses to yield, right? I teach them to move their heads away from the stick. Now remember, the horse can't see right up close to their eyes.
So you have to be able to use the stick in their field of vision. And training the steering from the hindquarters, steering the forequarters separately is really important for ease of learning
because most of our turns, especially in the dressage world, it's a combination between steering the hind end and steering the front end. All right, so let's try some same pattern, but just opposite direction, right? So now we're going to go left around this top cone. And I'm going to go back to my hindquarter steer, right? Good. Now I'm going to go this way. Right, right, right. Ah, good girl. Easier down there. So that makes me think, maybe it's harder up here just because that's where the gate is. Maybe it's not a directional thing for her as much as it is that's where the gate is. So it's good to do that. Move your patterns around, but have good established patterns. That way your horse knows where you're going to go. And you notice that as I'm doing this, I am using my body, right? And like here, then I use the rein or the stick. But when I put my leg back, I turn my body. Like, look the way you want to go. It's all things that we're told in our lessons growing up. And then we kind of forget them, and we get so focused on looking down at the horse that we don't usually look where we're going, and we don't use our bodies to our benefit. Good girl. All right, so that she's got pretty good. Now, can I steer the front end? Can I steer the shoulder? Good girl. Stick out here just in case I need it. So you notice my stick changes. If I'm steering the front end, I'm using the stick on the outside, right? So that I can redirect if the front end drifts out. If I'm steering the hind end, I use it on the inside so that I can motivate that inside hind to come around quicker. Good girl. Yeah. Super duper good. So these are the basic things that I start with when I think about, do I want to ride a horse reinless, bridleless, bitless? You know, you can go bitless pretty easily without necessarily putting all this time and effort into. Most horses will go well in something that's bitless, you know, a hackamore, rope halter, anything like that. But if you really want to go without the reins, eventually you need to put some time in and teach your horse what your aids are going to be. And this is how I start that process.
Play with this, have fun, and happy riding. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Come Ride With Me. My goal is to demonstrate to riders that we don't have to do something every second of a ride. We don't have to do things a certain way or at a certain time. Just staying present with your horse and gathering non-judgmental information about how they are going is way more beneficial than overthinking and overworking. If you'd like to learn more about what I do at Equus Enlightened, you can find me at equisenlightened.net or on patreon.com/equisenlightened. You can also find me on social media as Equus Enlightened. I will put all the links in the show notes. And until next time, happy riding. Oh, before you go, please remember to rate, review, and share this pod so others can find it. I would love constructive criticism, but like my mom used to say, if you don't have anything really nice to say, there's no need to say it. Just ride on, my friends. Have a great week.